welcome to the Myles Show. My name is Vera Mutave, and I'm here to talk about toxic work environments with Myles, our host. So I hope that you guys are engaged in this topic and it's something that you can relate to. And hopefully if you can relate to it, could also help you get out of a toxic work environment, or maybe even deal with a toxic work environment if leaving the job is not ideal. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. You did so perfectly.
Thanks.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us in today's episode. I really appreciate you coming and, discussing these issues of toxic work environment. And, for starters, it's something that has been, trending, especially recently. We've seen them trending also in all social medias. And it's something I feel it should be discussed. And you offered to come, and I'm really thankful for that. Yeah, so you can start us off and tell us what does it mean to having a toxic toxic workplace culture?
So a toxic work environment or toxic workplace culture is basically a work culture that promotes bullying or promotes negative behavior, and that behavior ends up being rewarded in the work culture. So you find there are things like the communication is a bit shifty, there's signs of poor leadership, teamwork and collaboration fails, but mostly it's negative behaviors that are being promoted in the work culture, and they're being perpetuated by leadership or by the HR and the different departments inside.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So when you talked about here, when you've given us that definition, what I can ask when it comes to, have you been in a toxic workplace environment?
Actually, yes, I have. My last job was actually to me, it was very toxic, and it got to a point that I had to leave for my own peace of mind and my mental health. So it's important to realize that just because a toxic work environment is toxic to you, it isn't necessarily toxic to everybody else, because you're experiencing it differently and you're playing different roles in the work environment. So for me, when I started the job, everything was okay. In hindsight, I think about it, there were people that had actually told me we're not very sure about this place, but so I actually, because I knew the employers and I knew the job, the company itself, I thought, okay, I know these guys, they're stand-up guys and it's a stand-up company, I will definitely try. But there are always red signs that you can see from the get-go, even from the interview stage before you actually join a company. There are a few red flags that you can see in toxic work environments. For example, how they are conducting the interviews, how they are approaching you when they are talking to you and giving you communication about interviews. Do they give you ample time and tell you beforehand, a week beforehand, hi, we are going to be holding interviews on this day, so you have to prepare yourself. Do they show up on time for the interviews, or you end up waiting for 45 minutes, 2 hours? When you see some things from the interview stage and how, let's say, the employees in the company how do they look when they're leaving work, when they're working, the engagement between the employees and the management, there are things that you can tell. There are a few red flags that can be seen from the beginning before you join a toxic work environment, or just a company whose HR policies and engagement policies aren't really the best and up to code. So,
Okay. So, for example, you've talked about the red signs that one can notice when you're in the toxic in the workplace. Can you tell us some of the experience that you felt to know that this is a toxic work environment? For you, what did you feel to know that this is actually a toxic work environment for me?
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd start maybe from the interview stage before I joined the job. So when I was going for interviews, I think the first interview, I actually had to wait for the interviewer to show up by 45-30 minutes. And so already I was okay, I just assumed just give them leeway because of traffic and things like that. So I didn't really think too much about it. Secondly, there wasn't a very like clear and defined job description. You will find that places that don't give you like a job description, like, this is what you'll be doing, this and this and this, these are your tasks. You will find that that kind of job will end up giving you that after you have been onboarded into the company, you'll end up having more roles on tasks that you are taking up from other people that you didn't really sign up for, and there will not be compensation towards you for doing these jobs, because essentially that's not what they employ you for, just taking up more roles. So that's showing that they're understaffed or mismanagement. It's not your job to go and take up and like make up for their HR incompetencies on their side. Another thing, you should also, it's very weird, but look at how their bathrooms look like. I think that's like a very, it seems stupid, but look at what their bathrooms look like. Are they up to code? Are they clean? Do they provide their workers with sanitary things like let's say toilet paper, sanitary pads, things like that? Are they clean? Do they smell nice? Do you share like the same bathrooms? Does management have different bathrooms compared to like lower level employees? There are things like that that will really tell you how they prioritize their workers and how the kind of relationship that is going to be there when you join the company. Thirdly, in terms of getting a job description or giving you like a working contract, they might delay a bit. Like you have to keep following up. That's not it. Actually, when a company offers you a job, they should give you a contract in advance. So it's up to you to sit on it and decide like if you're going to sign the contract or not. Not be onboarded into a company before being given like an actual contract. So that's also something else that you should look out for. Things like benefits. Do they give you medical insurance? Are they paying you well? Are they paying other workers well? Or are the salaries like, like managers, you're going to be paid like this range, or they're just paying people according to favoritism and how they like specific employees. So those are things that you can look out for. Make sure that there are things that are very clearly defined, that you work from this time to this time. If you work past this time, you're given overtime. How are they giving you like your off days, your leave days, your sick days, and things like that? Like this, it's really, really small things that actually just go to show you the kind of culture that you're going to be into. Also, professional maturity is something else you should look out for a lot. I know I've had a lot of people complain saying that you join like an organization or a company and you're expecting people to behave according to their age and behave professionally in the work, but then you get there and it kind of feels like you're in high school all over again. So it's I feel like you've been taken back to high school, primary school, in terms of the relations that are there. That's a red flag to look out for. Things like cliques as well. It's okay to have like friends, colleagues who are friends, but when the behavior becomes cliquish, where it's people have inside jokes, or people from when someone else joins or walks into a room, people go quiet because of this person has joined, and then there are those cliquish behaviors. You feel left out, or there's passive aggressive behavior among the departments, among teams, among colleagues. Those things are definitely things that you should look out for, and they're also signs of a potentially toxic workplace. Yeah.
All right. So you said the unique thing to always check is the bathroom.
Yes, check bathrooms.
Yeah.
Check the bathrooms.
Next time when I go, even if to check out a company, I'll just go to the bathroom. Like I'll reach, I'll say, okay, can I go to the bathroom? And then I'll be the judge of that. But for what you have talked about, another thing is that can the HR, for example, let's say maybe you're in a toxic, the work environment is very toxic, and you report it to the HR. Can the HR, are the duties of the HR like to help in such situations, or what?
I think that the HR can help address these situations, but even you as the person, you also have to take the initiative of actually saying that we need to have like a discussion about this and point out some of the behaviors that you are seeing, because you might find sometimes even the HR is a bit partial towards people or a bit partial towards treatment, and they don't really know how to approach it. So it's also up to you as an individual to also create awareness and say, like, call people out. I know that it seems like a bit like toxic or something is going to happen, but just actually initiate the conversation. Like, otherwise it might just end up being swept under the rug, and you'll just keep staying in a toxic workplace.
Okay. But then who has more power, the HR or the boss, like the managerial department?
Essentially, the HR has power over the people, because the HR is supposed to defend the employees, like come up and raise issues that are regarding the employees. The HR is not supposed to implement just what the management wants. To an extent, yes, but the HR also has the power and the obligation to stand up for the employees, to say, like, I think we should do this and this. I think this is a problem that we're having and we need to help sort it out. Also, if you are joining a company that doesn't have a functioning HR, that's another red flag that I actually forgot about. Any company that has more than 10 people has to have a functioning HR.
Okay. So let me ask you, how did you survive the toxic workplace environment? Like, what are some of the tips that you can tell, to someone who's maybe experiencing similar toxic workplace environment, should actually do so as to be able to survive in such a situation?
Okay. I would say, for me, in my experience, at the beginning, I really hadn't realized that it was a toxic work environment. It's just that I would notice, like, things. I wouldn't be motivated to wake up and go to work. Like, the thought of going to work was very depressing, and not just going to work, but going to work at this specific place. I never wanted to go. I'd rather, like, work from home every time than actually physically go to the office. And then you also realize how other employees are behaving in that place. So you can find that maybe other people as well are very demotivated about going to work. So there are those things that you see, you're not productive, you're not as productive as you were before. You really try and minimize your engagements with other people. So there are signs that you see, because when you experience a toxic work environment, it has an effect on your mental psyche. You become depressed. You can get anxiety. There are a lot of mental and emotional consequences that you can get from sticking in a toxic work environment. So there are those things that you will realize about yourself that are going on. Maybe you're losing your appetite, or like just a lot of things. You don't have like a work-life balance. You're coming home and you're depressed. You're bringing like whatever energy that you're bringing at home from work, you're bringing it back home with you. So those are things that you will maybe notice about yourself and start asking, why am I behaving like this? Why am I feeling this way about a certain place? Is it because of something that is happening now, or is it like a bigger issue? But when you are in a toxic work environment, I would recommend leaving, especially if it's getting you to a point where you're very depressed. I remember mine got to a point so bad that I actually wanted to commit suicide, that I would literally come home and I would sit down and I would think, is this really worth it? I can just end all of it. But you shouldn't, really do not let yourself reach there. That's at the worst point you can be. So I would say, first of all, try and create like a routine for yourself that when you leave work at work. You walk out to that gate, that's it, you're done. You are switch off completely from work. Think about yourself. Do something that makes you happy, whether it's listening to music, taking a shower, going for a walk, playing with your pet, anything that makes you happy, talking to your friend, anything that actually makes you happy and makes you like forget about what is actually happening at your workplace. If you can raise the issue at work about it, please do. If it can actually help, like better the situation, talk to people, talk to someone in your department that maybe understands and can help you, like know how to navigate. Talk to your HR. If your HR can help you, that would be actually very beneficial. Also, set boundaries for yourself. Have a proper work-life balance. That for most toxic workplaces, you will find either you're being micromanaged or you're being told that it doesn't matter what time you receive a work email, a work phone call, whether it's 11:30 p.m. or 2 a.m., that is supposed to be sorted there and then. That's not how it's supposed to be. So create serious boundaries for yourself, that this is my time, I'm done, I've switched off work, I will deal with it tomorrow if it's to be done tomorrow, or on Monday if it's on the weekend. I would also say that if you can, that is like if you can create a bubble for yourself. Have a safe space that you can go and unwind and detach from. If you can leave. I would highly recommend leaving. If you can leave. So just because you're just really trying to protect yourself, that a 9-to-5 is not worth losing your life and putting like your family and friends to grief because of such things. So I would definitely say that if you can get a therapist, talk to a therapist, not just because of toxic work environments, but generally for your own mental well-being. It's really important to just have a therapist and someone that you can talk to about all of this.
Yeah. Okay, I actually do agree with you. Like, if someone has a point really, because once you die, they'll replace you in the next. There's gonna be a job opening the following day. Yeah, like there's a new opportunity coming. Like they'll forget you immediately. Yeah. And it's so majorly say like if something makes me like separates me from family, especially family. Like I'd rather not have that job, even if it pays me $1 million. Like I'd rather, because you'll be stressed, you'll be working full time, getting the money, probably or not.
Probably or not.
Yeah, because maybe even they can, what do you call, like delay the salary. You see, and then at the end of the day, your family gets hurt, you die. There can never be another you.
Yeah.
But in that job description,
someone else will replace you.
Yeah, because everyone does so many things. Like there's so many doctors out there, there's so many counselors out there, there's so many drivers, there's so many engineers, there's so many pilots. You see. So, and also another thing, when it comes to someone being toxic in a work environment, like shame on you. Like how do you feel like making someone like feel bad? It doesn't make sense. Like, do they think that they are better than everyone? Because they are not. Actually not. And it's such a shame, because what we learn through school, rather, or in everything we do, and how people write their CVs, is that everyone says they're a team. They're a team player. Team player. So if you can't be a team player, literally, and for example, let's say if HR, like if someone comes to complain to you and don't do something about it, then shame on you too. Like we need to have, there's no way like you can have stress at, because actually when you start working, you actually spend more time at work than at home, because you only have weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you see, and maybe sometimes maybe you can have other, errands to do. So 8 to 5, if you count those hours in a whole month.
It's not actually 8 to 5 because you wake up to get ready to go to work. That already counts. Your work in transit to go to work, that it's more than 12 hours a day. Yeah. So for your case, did you ever like report maybe, I don't know who was toxic in that. Was it your colleagues or your boss or the HR? But were you able to like, it's called what, report, like you say, like to tell the one who's in charge of, the well-being of everyone in the company that your so-and-so is kind of, stressing me like this? Were you able to, there was no any policy for such things? You can complain when something is going through. So there are actually, I did try to bring it up, but when I think about it, there are actually no policies in place that would protect you mentally, or even if you're going through things like sexual harassment. Like the moment that you don't have somewhere to an impartial person that you can go and talk to and actually report, and something can be done about it, then you already know that things are kind of stacked against you at this point. So what I did, I stuck it out till the end. Honestly, I stuck it out till the end, and I just got to the point, I think about a week or so before I decided to leave. I had gotten so frustrated with work. I actually called my mother at work and I broke down. And I told her, I can't do this. I've really tried and I really can't do this anymore. I am at the worst place that I have been in mentally for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid. And I told her I can't do this anymore. So she just told me, like, calm down, just breathe, go home, think about it, and be sure that this is what you want. I thought about it and I said, I'd rather be jobless than actually stay at a place that is really making me lose confidence in myself, lose hate myself, and that might potentially make me harm myself. Because when you get to a point where you actually have to seriously talk yourself out of causing yourself harm, that's very bad. It's a serious red flag for you. Yeah.
All right. So, like, if I can ask you, like, did you ever regret, like, leaving that job, like, the day that you made a decision? And actually, how did you come up to make? Actually, start us with how did you come up with the decision? Like, okay, enough is enough. I'm leaving. Did you have like a plan B? Like, did you have like another job pending somewhere, or like how did Ama you just left and said, okay, I'll go look for another work?
So it was actually before I left. So I used to share an office with an accountant, a very good friend of mine now. So the day that I actually made up my mind that I'm actually going to leave, I told her I'm leaving, I'm going to quit. And she's like, you're not serious? And I told her, really, I'm going to leave. But before this, I'd already started applying for other jobs outside, just in case anything happens, because I had been unhappy for a while, but I hadn't really been pushed to that point where I thought I have to leave now. I can't do this anymore. So I'd already been applying for jobs before that. And actually the meeting that led up to me leaving my job was because I was actually called by one of the senior managers, and they actually were monitoring what I had been doing on my laptop. So they were asking me, why am I applying to UN? And I'm thinking, first of all, that's over my lunch break, and what I'm applying for. Like, the moment someone can't trust you to just do your job, and they're like spying on you at this point, then you already know like something is wrong. So when there was that whole conversation and people you really get to that point where you're so frustrated, I decided that was it. That was my breaking point, and I said I can't do this anymore. So when I made up my mind that I'm going to leave, I literally waited for my salary to check in. The moment I got like a notification from my bank that my salary had checked in, I went and I reverted like all the passwords back to everything that they'd given me. I gave out instructions for what was supposed to be done, and I handed in my work badge, my laptop, and everything that I had, and I told them, I've quit and I've left. And that was it. And It was the best feeling that I had. I absolutely, till today, I don't regret it. I was like, I made the right choice when I left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really awesome. All right, thank you for sharing with us that insights, and I hope our viewers out there who are experiencing toxic environment, workplace, like, it's good to think about yourself. That's what I call about being selfish in a good way. Like, think about yourself. Yeah. Before I continue, would you like to say 1, 2, 3 things? Maybe you have an extra point, and I'm out here ending the show just like that.
I do. Extra points. I don't know. I feel like when you're in a toxic workplace, or actually in any toxic relationship, it doesn't matter whether it's a work relationship or it's a personal relationship, there are things you either have a gut feeling about this, that you feel like either you're being gaslighted, you're not being seen, you're not being heard, and you don't really have a voice there, and where people are just abusing you, whether emotionally, physically. When you are really at that point, you already know that this is a very bad place for you to be at. So I would encourage you, love yourself, have the courage to leave, have the courage to walk away and do what is best for you. Because at the end of the day, life will move on for these other people. But if you stay in a place that will end your life, that's it for you. And your family will be there wondering maybe if they talked to you more, if they did something more, you'd still be with them. And death is not worth it. It's not worth it for anyone and the people around you to go through all of that pain just because of a situation that you could walk out of. So I would encourage you, like, if you cannot leave, try and change the situation. Try and detach yourself and just go to work and just do work, but create that safe space for yourself. But my number one recommendation is, if you can, just leave for your own well-being. The right job will come around for you. It's not like if you leave this one job, that's the end of the world. Things always work out. Something better will come along the way. Something that that makes you happy and you're passionate about, you will get it. And even if it's starting your own job, you never know. Maybe this is the step that you need to get yourself to the person that you're meant to be. So yeah. All
right. Thank you for that, and really appreciate even the 2 cents that you gave us. And just to add on what you said, that people who own companies or these working environment areas, it's your duty to ensure that your employees, right? Employees are safe, and it's a place whereby they are comfortable and feel they can work well. Because I feel like if your employees are happy, your company will succeed. So please, let's stop this culture of having a toxic work environment whereby people really hate working for you. People really hate your guts. Like they're like, so and so. I'm like, man, I really don't want to see this person. So it's your duty as managers, managerial departments. It's your duty as HR to ensure that everyone in the company feels safe there. Even maybe if you're doing business and maybe you have your customers come in there, you should also be kind to your customers, because they're the ones who they are bringing up your business. So don't be I don't say the word, but it is what it is. Don't be an asshole at workplace. And last but not least, is that something I really feel it's something that we should talk about in the workplace, is that be fair in everything that you do. If there is any issue concerning maybe between a male colleague and a female colleague, listen to both of them and be fair and listen to both and judge accordingly. Because most cases we see that whenever a male employee does something wrong, see everyone is like against him, even doesn't want to be listened to. And if you see like a female maybe has complained about something, and then you hear someone saying about, I don't know, the dress code, such things. So please listen to both sides and judge fairly. And if you cannot handle that case, that's why we have police officers. Go write an OB, take it to court if you can't handle it. But be fair enough to listen to both and treat them fairly accordingly. That's all we had for today. Thank you, Vera, for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming here and giving us insights about toxic workplace and environment. And guys, kindly tune into our next episode next week for more about these insights, and kindly subscribe, share, and like our videos. See you until next time. I'm your host, Myles Show. See you and have a good afternoon.
Your name is?
Vera.
Vera.
Yes.
Okay. So, what do you do? Why are you on the show, basically? Maybe what you do is not the reason why you're on the show.
No, what I do has nothing to do with why I'm in the show, actually.
Why are you on the show?
I'm just here to talk about toxic work environments. Yeah.
How has it been for you?
You live, you learn.
Yeah. Excellent. So, you do the introduction of the show?
Why?
Just on that spirit,
Friends to Myles,
I
to introduce the show.
No, you guys can't.
The show is actually an endorsement to you.
Why? What am I supposed to say? Hi guys,
Yeah.
welcome to the Myles Show. What am I? What else is there?
Yeah.
No, and then
Happy to be here to engage with Myles. Like
To the audience.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
and maybe like what you were going to talk about.
yeah, toxic